I'm going to give you a few tips on what to include when you submit your application. Let's talk about supporting documents. When you submit your application, there are a few other documents that we'll need to see to undertake our assessment. You can submit these directly with your application onto the online form, or you can send these via email to our admin email address, which is available on our website. Either is fine. When we assess your applications, we need to see a number of supporting documents. Here are some of the most important. For every application, we expect to see a governing document for the organisation that's applying. This could be an Articles of Association or a constitution which dictates how your organisation is managed. We expect to see a list of charitable objects, as well as a dissolution clause for what happens to your organisation's assets if you dissolve. With regards to financial information, there are certain documents we may need to see for our assessment. Your organisation will need to have its own bank account to be eligible to apply for funding. As such, we may ask to see up to 3 months of recent bank statements from this account. We use these statements to assess that money is moving in a healthy way in and out of your account, as well as to verify your bank details if we need to make a payment. We're sometimes asked about how this is GDPR compliant. If you need to, you can redact surnames from these statements. This should satisfy your GDPR policy. Please note that this account should have at least 2 unrelated bank signatories. We will also ask to see your organisation's most recent annual accounts. If your most recent set hasn't been audited yet and is still in draft, that's okay. If your organisation has been running for less than 1 year and as such you don't have annual accounts, we'd like to see your management accounts instead. Depending on the type of work that your organisation does, we will need to see either a vulnerable adults safeguarding policy or a children and young people safeguarding policy. Obviously, the requirements of this policy will be different depending on your project work. However, we generally expect to see confirmation that your staff and volunteers undergo DBS checks. You may also need to submit other documents depending on which application form you are submitting. The full list can be found on our website. You will be asked in your application to tell us the start and end date you have planned for your project. When deciding on these dates, please consider the amount of time it will take us to get a decision to you. It is best to be realistic and leave plenty of time between submitting your application and planning to start your project. If you have any questions about submitting your documentation or about filling in your application form in general, please do get in touch with the team who will be happy to help.